everybody. Hi, Atosh. So, welcome to the Facebook live session of my podcast. As I said in my podcast, that I will try to do filler lives. This will be a filler session between my episodes because not everything I discuss or I will discuss in my podcast because it's been 11 years of experiences, so it is not easy to put all of them together in one in all the episode, but I will try my best to do these lives, answer questions, even Q&A questions. If you have like some Q&A questions, like you want to know something more about a certain episode, or you have some doubt, or you didn't understand, or even like you have some critiques. Hi, Mori. That's my other guy. Some stuff like that, questions, anything that you want to know in more detail, or you want me to talk about in detail, I will do these in the live, so that we can learn more and I can share more, and hopefully we learn more about this field, because that's the whole goal. As well as I'll make sure that I download all these Facebook lives, so they will be all up in the YouTube channel. Now the thing is, since they will be on YouTube channel, these are like direct download from the Facebook live. They will be not as pretty as other YouTube videos, but everybody can see what we're talking about, what we're discussing about, and I think it's a nice way to just spread the information. Oh, I have 7 people. That's good. Okay. So these sessions, I will call them as hashtag career tidbits. So if you have question on the lives, use that hashtag career tidbits, so that I know that these questions are specific to the live, and specific to anything I've said, which you guys need to talk more, or share more and stuff like that. Share it among your friends and family and stuff like that, so that they can learn about this field. Okay. So today's topic is my time in IISER Mohali in 2008. So when I joined IISER Mohali, I had no idea, as I said, no idea about science career. I only knew if you have to make a career in science, you either become a doctor or an engineer or a pharmacy student. That's it. That's all I knew of, and I thought that all were my options. I did give all the entrance exam. I didn't give the pharmacy exam because I was never too interested in pharmacy field. Modi, stop it. And then I definitely gave the engineering entrance exam as well as the medical exam, and my friend Kasturi Banerjee from Hemshila, he told me to try for the KVPY exam, and I entered IISER through the KVPY exam. Okay, she is very excited for whatever reason. Yeah, so I didn't qualify the All India medical entrance exam. I didn't qualify the West Bengal medical entrance, but I did qualify the All India PMT, but I was like way back in the list, so I was getting dental, and I was never interested to be in a dental doctor, so that was definitely not the path I wanted to go. I did clear the engineering exam, but I have already established I don't like physics, so of course you know what was happening. So when I got the option to join IISER, and I realized that I can do more bio and I can avoid subjects I don't like or I'm interested about, definitely I was very interested in joining IISER Mohali. So when I gave the KVPY exam, my stream was called the SX stream, which is what you give when you are in your 12th standard, irrespective of which board you have. So anybody who wants to give the KVPY SX stream, I think that stream is still available, so you can give that, and if you qualify, then you are eligible to join IISER, and I think IISc as well. So, and at that time, I don't know whether there is the interview part, but back in 2008, you have to qualify the written exam for SX stream. Then you get shortlisted and you go to I went to IISER Pune to give the interview round. Once you qualify that interview round, then you become a KVPY fellow. So it was very stringent. So I had to so I qualified my written exam in December of 2007, and I went to IISER Pune in April of 2008. I don't remember so back in history. Yeah, and then I gave the interview. It was one of the coolest interview I've ever given, because I was getting interviewed by scientists. At that time, I didn't know what scientists were, except like only the ones that I read about. So I didn't know that a scientist was actually an active profession. So so the questions were very different, and a lot of them were like thought-provoking questions, like what happens if this happens, or like what if a meteor hits the earth, or something like that. So it was not a very straight if E is equal to MC square question. No, they were like, what if the E was sun and the M was earth and the C was something, and what will happen, something like that. So I enjoyed that interview session, and of course they enjoyed it too, because I qualified. And in that year, only 13 students got the SX scholarship in the entire people who applied, and I think close to 30,000 students applied, and only 13 got it. So I was very, very proud of myself, because I never did well in all those NSTSC, NTSC exams. Like I was like 300, 500 rank in my own school. So that was a huge boost of confidence for me, because I qualified this exam, and not only that, I was one of the 13 people who did. So of course that motivated me a lot. Then as I said, I went to IISER Pune for my interview. So that was the very first time I got an idea of what IISERs had to offer, like the lab, the building, the faculty, and stuff like that. And I was very excited, because I've never seen anything like that. It was not the traditional thing. So there were research labs, and there were these faculties and all those people who are actively doing research and like trying to find something. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. I have never seen this thing. Like, what is this field? Like, what the hell is this thing? Like, how does nobody know about this? So when I had to finally make the choice of whether I should join bioengineering or biotechnology in an engineering college, or whether I should choose IISER, of course I was like, so I know that I don't like engineering as such. It is not my niche, it is not my comfort zone. It is something I will do because I have to do it. But there's this entire new institute and an entire new field which excites me, and I'm very curious. I have no idea what to do, but I was feeling more relaxed in trying the unknown than going to the known path. It's weird, I know, like you feel more comfortable going to a field that you know about rather than to a field that you don't know about. But in my case, it was opposite. I was more comfortable feeling that I should join IISER over joining an engineering college for a biotech program. Yeah. Hi, Shajit. So that was very that was the main reason why I decided I will join IISER, and I was looking at all the five. Of course, I put IISER Kolkata as number one because it would have been close to my place, and then I put IISER Pune and then IISER Mohali because Mohali was a year old and Pune and IISER Kolkata were 2 years old. And at that year, both Tiruvananthapuram and Bhopal were opening, and I didn't want to go to a new institute. So I got my third option, which was IISER Mohali, and I was excited because I was like, oh, I'm going to Punjab, which means I'm going to get good food. I'm a big time foodie, so that was the very first thought I had. Like, if I go to Mohali, that means I'm going to have Punjabi cooks in the hotel, in the hostel mess. So I'm gonna eat good food. Priorities, people. Priorities are important. Because all my cousins who were in West Bengal and they were used to talk about their hostel mess food, they always talked about, you know, like disgusting food menu, and I was like, I don't want to eat those kind of food. Like, so I was going to Punjab, you know, I was like, yes, good hostel food. Hostel food are always going to be hostel food. Things I learned after I joined there. Anyway, so my parents and my late grandmother, they were very excited because I was going to IISER on a fellowship. So you know, they were very proud that I was economically independent at the get-go, and I was very passionate and stuff like that. But when I went to IISER Mohali, at that time, my thought was, oh, probably this is like going to be like a regular graduation program, and I'll give the UGC exam, and then I'll become a professor and stuff like that. You know, those kind of thought process. I had no clue that I was gonna get myself into something bigger. So I thought that everything I'm gonna learn in IISER is going to be the traditional graduation program, except I have a fellowship to cover the cost of my living and books and stuff like that. The only thing I was very curious, Modi. The only thing I was very curious about was the contingency part of my fellowship. It was an extra 20,000 rupees to do summer internships, and that made me very curious because traditionally I knew that in graduation program you have coursework, you read, you give exams, and you basically pass that semester, and that's how the whole thing goes, and you graduate and you become a bachelor's and a master's part. So I was very curious, like, why do they want us to go to summer internship, and what does this summer internship even mean? So I joined IISER Mohali on August 22nd of 2008, and on our very first day of the orientation, the director, Dr. Satyamurthy, said, welcome to IISER Mohali. This is your future of becoming a scientist. And I was like, wait, what? Scientist? Nobody said anything about becoming a scientist. Wait, how can we become scientists? I thought we were just gonna do BS MS degree. What's going on? And I believe everybody in that room on that very day was thinking the same question, because all my classmates at that time had this question of what, why, how, is this for real, you know? And because of that, I think we started with a batch of 50 and we ended up being a batch of 36 because 14 people dropped out. They decided that it was too unknown for them, and some of them went to traditional engineering program. I know some people went into the petroleum industry and stuff like that. But most of the people who left because none of us expected that we were looking as a scientist career, because in 2008 none of us knew about what being a scientist mean, or like how you become a scientist and stuff like that. So it was a very interesting first day of orientation. And we were in the temporary campus of MJC Pub, in MJC Pub complex, and it was like a very small classroom, and we only had one senior batch, and they were also like close to 20 people, so not a lot of people, not a lot of space, not a lot of chaos, but we all started on a journey. So I told my parents, and they're like, they were also like very confused. They're like, what do you mean becoming a scientist? And I said, yeah, that's what they say. Like this, the entire goal of this program is to train us in becoming the next generation scientists. So even my parents were like, okay, give yourself a year. Also, keep practicing and studying for your medical entrance exam. What if you want to give it one more time if this doesn't work for you? And I was like, yeah, I think that's a good plan. I'll just see how it goes, and if it doesn't work, if it's not my cup of tea, I will take my attempt again in medical entrance exam. So that was the conversation that happened on the very first day of me starting classes in IISER Mohali. With that, time went on, and then I remember the first biology lab that we did. Manas sir, he said something that have stuck throughout the time, and I still keep on telling myself to this day. He said that 90% of the science you do is going to end up being a failure, and 10% is going to be successful, which means anytime you publish a paper, or anytime you see a study, or any news that you're getting, it's because you are only seeing the 10%, the successful part of it. You have no idea about the 90% of the time that those people failed, and the frustration they have dealt with, and the depression and everything. You only see the good part. So if you think that is how it's gonna be for the rest of your science career, you're gonna be very, very, very wrong. So train yourself, learn, and realize that you're gonna fail for the most part of your time, and you're gonna succeed only 10% of the time. But that success is what's gonna propel you throughout your career. That's what is going to help you become something or make something out of your life. And that just stuck into my, like, that 10-minute conversation, it's just changed my entire perception. Because I was like, I just didn't know what happened, but I was like, I never knew that these people, like, I never considered that every time we study about these studies, and like in the science book, every single thing that we study in our textbooks, we always think that they are as it is. Like one day they woke up and there was penicillin. One day they woke up and we have a DNA sequence. I never thought that they probably have failed for years before they found the structure of DNA and stuff like that. So I think I developed an appreciation towards the process of a research. Anyway, the first semester goes, and coursework, I struggled for maths and physics because I am not great at it. But I had really good friends, or acquaintance, I will say. We were slowly becoming friends and stuff like that. And I owe a lot to Keshav, who was my lab mate. We were paired together if he would not have helped me with those physics experiments, this girl would have failed right away. So, Keshav, I owe this to you big time. We had a pact. I help him with biology experiment. He helps me with physics experiment. And in chemistry, whoever gets lucky, we follow that person. So, I would not have cleared those practicals without his help. Regarding how I did the written exam, I just don't know. I just did, and I'm glad I just did. Okay, it just happened. So the thing is, you don't have to be an expert on all the fields. You have to be patient enough to study, and of course, you have to time yourself. None of the things we learn in IISER is at the, I'll say, like, whatever we learn in our high school level, this is definitely 2 steps higher than what we have learned there. So we will be introduced with so many new concepts and so many new theorems and modems. Like, I never knew that math was like, I knew like math is trigonometry and differential and this and that, but the math that we did in IISER, like in the first 2 years, it had theorems and laws and stuff like that. So the thing is, these are things we don't learn traditionally in our textbook. So it was a complete new thing, and considering that I am not strong enough in that subject, I did struggle. But I asked help from the faculties. I asked help from my batchmates, and they did. We did a lot of group study. Like, we would group study till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. because we all were trying to figure out what the hell we were learning and basically pass those exams. And it definitely reflected, because it helped us to know about each other and make a friendship and a bond. And like, sometimes we were just like, hey Bhagavan, just pass kara de, please. Like, those kind of moments. I remember that the song Numb was the most iconic song of our batch, because every time, like, we'll give the exam and we'll get out of the exam hall, we'll scream like, I tried so hard, I tried so far, in the end it doesn't even matter, because we didn't even know how we will like fare. So the good thing is that because this was new for all of us, there was, like, even if there was a competition, it was never like an aggressive competition. We all suffered, and we all like enjoyed and celebrated. So it was definitely a very academically a very healthy environment, because we just knew we have to like get through this coursework till the major 3rd year, because once we have our own major, we know we're gonna each and everybody study our own favorite subject, like the one that we really really like, and we will do better once we get to 3rd year. So like the first 2 years, we all were trying to just finish the first 2 years. So apart from academics, in those first 2 years, we had so much fun, because as I said, we were like 2 very small group batch of people, and we were living in MGC Pub complex, which was literally in the center of Chandigarh, sector 26. So it was like 15 minutes tops, you reach to the hub of Chandigarh. So sector 26, sector 17 and sector 35 was the cool place for us. Why? 17 was the shopping district, and basically vagabond space. You could walk as long as you want, because all the rich people used to go to sector 17. So we used to just be around them and observe them and be like, that's a nice dress, that's a cool car, those kind of thing. And sector 35 was foodie's favorite place, because anything, like any cuisine. Like, that was the place to eat. Ooh, my mouth is still watering thinking about Sector 35 food. But yeah, that was the place to go and eat. And I remember we used to like hire these big autos, and like 10 people used to shove each other in that auto and go to Sector 35 and eat, and for late night food and stuff like that. And we didn't have a fest or clubs that at that time, because of how small our numbers were. But we did go to Punjab University and UIT, Punjab University, for their fest and stuff like that. So it was very entertaining. And Sector 26 is also close to the Sukna Lake, which is one of the traveling like touristy spot. So yeah, so either we all went to the lake, or we went to 35 to eat, or we went to Punjab University and like enjoyed their fest. So like it was very nice. It was very nice in that at that time, because we all were like, this is so new. We are all trying to figure out whether this career is for us or not. And there was somehow, because it was so new and we didn't know what to expect from us, so there was no expectation from each other, so there was no competition feeling. So it was cool. It was definitely cool. Then I think by the first semester of third year, that's when the initial infrastructure of the today's IISER Mohali campus was built. And we were there from the very first groundbreaking, I don't know, something breaking festival. So I remember we all went there. We were probably like 100 people, including student, staff, faculties, and director. So 100, all of us, we hired 3 buses. Like, we all went to the ground of IISER Mohali campus. We did the groundbreaking, earthbreaking, puja part, or whatever, like those things. We had a huge picnic on that campus. So we saw our institute being built up in front of our eyes, and we were there at every single moment of its development. So we felt very special. Like, I felt very special that, oh my god, like, I am seeing a history being made. I am the OG batch that is seeing the campus, the institute build up and grow up and getting established, and being this big institute. So it was very nice. And I think by the end of third year, we all moved to IISER Mohali campus, the main campus, what we have today. And it was a bittersweet moment, because we were all so used to living at MGC Pub and the lifestyle there. So definitely leaving one place and going to another place, there's that sentimental attachment to it, no matter where you live. So, but it was also cool because now we have our own campus, so we were like super excited. At that time, we only had hostel 5 and 7, and the lecture complex, and the nano NMR facility, and some faculty houses, and the library. That's all we had. We had no sports complex. Oh no, we had the small shopping complex, but not as big as it is today. And the boundary was still being built, and the gates were still being built. And yeah, that's when we started living our life in the main campus, and it was like amazing. Yeah, it was very amazing. Okay. And yeah, well, pretty much from third year to the end of my 5th year, it was very comfortable, because I was majoring in a subject that I really liked. So of course I chose biology, and I love the coursework of IISER Mohali at that time. I'm pretty sure it has got updated and improved now with today's standards and requirement. But in back in that time, I learned everything that was important at that time. So the emerging field during that time was evolutionary biology, developmental biology, biostatistics, immunology, protein chemistry, biochemistry, and I don't remember, there was one more. And on top of that, we had the extra subjects. So we could choose earth sciences, we could choose, there was one more thing, history of science, no, philosophy of science, and stuff like that. So mostly, and astronomy was there for physics students, and I think there was a special, computer course was there, coding was there. There were some I don't remember because I didn't take them. So I took the basic computer coding class, but I didn't do well. Again, thank you, Keshav, for helping me in that class. And then I took earth sciences, which I really liked with Anu ma'am, because I didn't know that the hills, the Shimla Manali hills, they actually have fossils. They still have fossils from the time when in none of the Himalayan mountain range was there. So you can still find them there. So that was really nice. Philosophy of science was very nice because it tells you how the perception of science have changed over time. Like when there was no science as such category, it was the natural philosophers when they were observing and studying the natural things happening in the world, to the time when these philosophers were actually challenging the notion, mostly the religious people. So the mostly, like, a lot was between the church and the philosophers and stuff like that. And then also, like, the in modern time, like how some of these old scriptures and manuscripts are now being used in today's modern science. Like Ayurveda is coming back as alternative therapy in medicine. Then what was the Chinese medicine is coming back and is explored and trying to be understood in today's world. I know that turmeric, this is like true. I know that turmeric is being studied as one of the treatment strategy for cancer. You can search it on internet and you will find there are actual research studies happening, because they have found that turmeric has some properties that can activate the immune cells in a way that it can help in boosting up the immune system to fight against cancer system. But it's not like, oh, if you start eating turmeric and adding turmeric in everything, you will be cancer free. No, let me put that disclaimer out. But these sciences, like these tradition, this culture that was used, or the old medicine that was used back in the day, how they can now again, they are like starting to come back to the modern world. These things, like these conversation, was a part of the history of science and philosophy of science, and I love that class because, like, for a person like me who had no idea how to become a scientist, how scientist came to be, how the research field came to be, like what this career was, that particular class was very eye-opening, saying how, like, we started off as becoming natural science explorers and philosophers, to then we started making this field, the field of maths, the field of physics, the field of chemistry, the field of science, and then making it stringent fields, like this is what you do if you do physics, this is what you do if you do chemistry, this is what you learn if you do math, this is what you learn when you are doing biology, to today's time where old scriptures are now being looked into and seen that what old medicines can be enhanced and be used today in this world. And the and a lot of astronomy, old astronomical observations are now being, people are going back and seeing what happened in that age, or that PCAC AD time and stuff like that. Even theory like Pythagoras theorem in this time, these happened way before the modern maths came into being. To the point that today, where we have this huge universe of interdisciplinary science, now they like now you, even if you do physics, you can still work in the field of life science. Even if you're a life science person, you can still work something that employs more physics than biology. So that's amazing. I mean, like, things that those are the things I learned that at IISER Mohali. And I love the fact that the IISER, all 5 IISERs, are being developed to basically excite you the way that it excited me. They are meant to give you an idea that science doesn't have to be in a box. You don't have to be in a box. If you love science, you can choose, you can work on anything that you want to work. For that, you don't have to have a specialization on one thing or stuff like that. You can study physics, and if there is a problem which you in say chemistry that you think you can solve with whatever you've learned in physics, you can do that. There is no stopping you. And that's the main goal of IISER, I believe, is what was the main intention to begin with, is to tell students that you don't have to be in a box if you want to do research and if you want to become a scientist and stuff like that. So so I loved all the coursework. I have huge respect to all my faculties, because they really helped me understand so many things that I was not aware of, and also shaped my outlook towards this field, and make me realize that I don't have to be amazing in everything. I can be strong on one aspect, and I can take help from other people. I can collaborate with other people, and basically answer my question, whatever I have. Life in the new IISER Mohali campus was, of course, fantastic, because now it's our campus, so we did whatever the hell we wanted there. The rules, of course, we had our rules and stuff like that, but the one thing I really loved about IISER Mohali culture was there was no gender based rules. It was pretty much the same for male and female. We lived in a co-ed hostel, so half of the hostel guys were staying, and in half of the hostel girls were staying. So there was never this, oh, that spot is for guys only, and that this spot is for girls only. No, we all shared the same space. We shared the canteen, we shared the cafeteria, we shared the hostel mess, we shared the gym room, we shared the TV room, we shared every single common place. So that, that those curiosity stories that I used to hear from other like campuses, like guys were trying to figure out what happens in a girls' hostel, and girls were trying to figure out what happens in the boys' hostel. That was not even a conversation in our campus because we were basically staying in the same space except for our own rooms. There was nothing else. Like, we all were eating the same food, dealing with the same life problem. Like, we had the same rules and regulation on till what time we are allowed to stay outside of the campus, till what time we are allowed to stay outside of our hostel. And it was the same entry book for all of us. It was the same rules. Like, we have to all take permission from the warden if we are staying outside the campus for like over a night. So all those things was an amazing was amazing, because we learned that we are equal. When you come to this career, you are treated equally. So why will you be treated any different in your normal day-to-day life? And for that, I give props to Dr. Satyamurthy. I know he has got some flack from that. There were so many parents used to come to, especially like once IISER Mohali started expanding and we were getting more and more students. I know a lot of parents had their questions and their worries and stuff like that. But all we said was, this was amazing, this was an amazing experience, because we appreciated our peers as equal. We never had that conversation ki, this will, the guys always get more advantage than the girls do, that's why we are not doing well, or the girls got more advantage than the guys did, that's why we, that conversation was out from our environment, and it helped us make really strong friendships. It helped us in appreciating other people, and it made the entire environment, the whole Mohali complex environment, equal, because we all knew we will get into the same trouble if we miss up. Doesn't matter what gender you are. So that was I will say that was one of the coolest thing that I will say I have never seen anywhere else in India. And I can say that because I have traveled to a lot of university throughout my time in IISER, for both summer internships as well as for fest. I served as the cultural head of IISER Mohali in my third year for a year. So I have been to fest. I have taken team to different fest, and I've seen how each institutes are. I've seen how IITs are. I've seen how IISc was, how NCBS was. Nowhere else in India there was such a free-flowing, dynamic campus than what we had in IISER. And this was when we didn't even have like 50% of the facilities. Now the campus I see, like I've seen like in pictures and images, it's just like, man, if we had those facilities in 2008, we would be like, I don't know what we would have done, because we were already so happy and content with what we had. If we would have had those things, then I think like we would have never left IISER Mohali. Probably I would have continued my PhD in IISER Mohali because of how the environment was. So we did study. We were very serious about our exams. We were very serious about our fellowship, because we needed to make sure that we all scored more than the minimum requirement to keep our fellowship, either it's KVPY or Inspire. I know unfortunately a couple of my batchmates had to drop out for whatever reason, and that's their story. I'm not going to talk about that. And some of them did lose their fellowship, unfortunately. So make sure you study well, because there will be so many other things to do in the campus that you might think you will read and you can pass. No honey, no. You have to be serious about the education you're receiving, and you have to prepare yourself and make sure you do your best in the exam, because if you don't, those rules are very strict when it comes to fellowship. They are giving you money to help you pay the cost of your education. They will be strict. So if you want to keep and hold on to that fellowship, you have to study and you have to get those minimum requirement. Otherwise you're going to lose it. As simple as that. Other than that, campus life was pretty fun. I think we probably made Pizza Hut, Domino's and all the other food services very rich, because as I said, just because I was in Punjab doesn't mean that the hostel mess food was excellent. Oh god, we had so much veg non-veg issues. Oh my god, I can't even talk about that. But like, yeah, we had those issues about vegetarian versus non-vegetarian. There were hunger strikes, food strikes, student strikes, so many strikes on that thing. And even after all the strikes, like we got like 60% of what we required food wise, but I think it's like a national problem when it to come hostel mess food. They are meant to suck. Like I believe if you get delicious food in your hostel, that's an illusion. You are living in some illusion, my dear. Like you are some kind of inception dream, because hostel mess food are apparently supposed to suck, irrespective of where you study, basically. So yeah, we definitely helped prosper the surrounding economics, because the number of time we have called Pizza Hut and Domino's and other food services at our hostel, it's like ridiculous amount. But it was fun. It was fun, definitely fun. Now let's. Do you guys have any question on this? No. Yeah. So now I'm going to transition into things that I have learned in IISER that helped me make the decision to choose this career. So I'm gonna start very first with definitely the coursework, because when IISER was built, the faculties were mostly people who were coming back from USA and Europe and UK and like all over the world, basically. All these, most of the faculty, or I'll say majority of the faculty, were foreign returned scientists. So they were either running a lab or were postdocs in foreign universities. And when IISERs were built, they decided to come back to India and contribute to the scientific community in India. Because they came back and they came from foreign university, the way our course structure was laid out, it was more at par is what taught outside, like more globally than what is already being taught in India. That is the reason why our degree is known as BSMS rather than BSc MSc, because globally anybody who does a bachelor or master's in science, they get bachelor or master in science BSMS rather than BSc MSc. Yeah, that was the first thing. The second thing was the subjects, or like the chapters, or which each semester what we're gonna learn was completely based on what was being studied and being researched at that time. So we didn't get like a specialization in botany or zoology or immunology or biochemistry or stuff like that, because the goal was not to make you specialized about one stream. The goal was for us to know what is the immediate requirement in today's research world. So that's why we studied about evolutionary biology, ecology, biostats, developmental biology, immunology, those kind of things. And the same thing was for my batchmates were in physics major, my batchmates were in maths major, and chemistry major, and as such. So since our coursework was made in a way to keep us at par with what is being studied all across the world, when we started looking for PhD position, because most of the people from my batch and my senior batch, we chose to do PhD. I will not say like people didn't go to alternate career. They did. Some people did MBA. I know some people joined companies. Some people did something else, whatever they like. But fairly 60 to 70% of us went and did our PhD. So during those applications, it helped us, because when they saw our grade marks and grade sheet, they saw that we learned about the subjects that were also taught in those foreign universities, and it helped us get an advantage over, I believe, the other programs. So that was definitely one thing that helped me realize that how broad the field of biology is, rather than what I knew of. and definitely I started picking my favorite and my least favorite out of them. The next thing, which is going to be the episode 3 of my podcast, was summer internships. Summer internships was my make or break deal to pursue this career, because before doing my first summer internship, I thought that I thought that it was going to be study, give exam, pass, graduate. When I did my first summer internship, I did it in IISER. I didn't go outside. I did it in IISER Mohali. That was a very different experience, because now I'm not in a classroom. I'm not being taught by somebody. I am in a lab. I am going to do research. I have a mentor. I am working with a PhD student. I'm a research person. So the whole dynamic changed. The whole experience changed. I was focusing on one problem, but I was utilizing all the knowledge I learned that year to solve this one problem. So I remember the very first thing I did was pipetting. Yeah, it seems like nothing, but that was the very first thing. I held a pipette for the very first time, and I was pipetting certain volume into each tube and making sure that my pipetting was fine. A skill that now people who are in the research area will think, it's not that big deal, but it is a big deal, because if you don't do your pipetting properly, you will mess up your experiments. So a very small thing, like big effect. So the first summer internship I did it on protein chemistry. It was under Dr. Samra Mukhopadhyay, and I worked on alpha casein. And I was shocked to learn that a small protein, if it doesn't fold properly, basically if it doesn't do its function properly and it becomes something else, it can cause breast cancer in women. And this particular protein is present in all women, because it's a part of the breast milk that we make. So I was very shocked to see that one small protein that is present in all women and is so regulated like in a normal human body system, that if it doesn't get regulated properly and if this thing changes, it can actually cause cancer in me. And I think that was the first time I realized how important research work is, because if we don't learn how to stop it, then we will never have a treatment for any woman who is suffering with this issue. So it was very eye-opening, because A, never been in a lab environment as a researcher, B, never realized that how intricate some things are, and like how important it is to understand and make sure so things work the way they're supposed to, otherwise you will develop diseases. C, that I have the power, not me as such, but like we researchers have the power to actually find a solution to such problem and help so many people. So the second one I did was in evolutionary biology, where I taught fruit flies to figure out what to eat and what not to eat. No, what to smell and what not to smell. So I was trying to train them that this smell is good smell, this smell is bad smell. And it was interesting, because you will think like flies and mosquitoes and like they're like dumb species, and they don't realize what's good and what's bad, and you can't train them, but you can. You can train them. You can train them just like any other dog, cat, dolphin species. It's just a different system. And the interesting thing was, the reason we were doing this study, because in bats, it was shown that bats that are very smart they don't make enough sperm, so they don't have that many kids. Whereas dumber bats, bats that don't make too much memory, they are more successful in having more kids. So evolutionary, it was an interesting thing because we suffer from species endangerment. Like we are losing so many species thanks to global warming, and we humans being dumbasses. So if you are trying to conserve a species, like yeah, I'm so happy. Like we have 3,000 tigers in India. Like it's such a great news. So like if you're trying to conserve a species, you're trying to increase their number, you have to learn these things, and you have to understand like what are the factors that can affect a species health and growth. So completely different thing. With these two summer internship, I realized that each field is different, each question is answered differently, and I need to try as many fields as possible to figure out what I really 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 like. So for my third internship, I applied for a national fellowship and I went to IISER Bangalore. That's why I got introduced to immunology. Then for the fourth one, I did in CTFD, which was Center for Drug and Fingerprinting Department. So there I worked on bacteria, but that's the department that works on forensic science. I had no idea that India has forensic science program. I thought you have to become a police person or a CBI person to be involved in forensic science. But no, there is actually university, I think it's in Gujarat, that teaches you how to become a forensic scientist. Did I know that? No. Have I not been a part of IISER, and have I not gone to CTFD, I would have never known that we have forensic science degree in India. Like, what? So, the fifth day I had my master's project, so again I was back in IISER Mohali. But the fact that I realized when I went to this summer internship program, and students started coming to IISER Mohali from different institute, and all my summer buddies in CTFD, we came through the same program. So we were 14 people from 12 different universities and 12 different subject area. That's where I learned that there are universities where you can do forensic science. There are universities where you learn about drug development. There are labs that work on forensic science. So the friend who came from this forensic science university was trying to fingerprint tiger paw prints to make sure how many tigers are there. These are the people who find out the technology how to count each and individual tigers. Did you know that? No. That's the problem. If you are not in that field, if you don't come to this field and you don't do summer internships, you do not realize how many fields are there and how different type of research work is happening. And I'm so glad that I joined IISER Mohali and I went to this summer, because I would have never known that these kind of things are happening around me in my own country, not outside my country. In my own country, this kind of research is happening. I got super excited because I loved all my summer internships. So the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, if you have an opportunity to do a summer research, if you have the time, do a summer research, do a winter research, do a research internship, because that is the best way to know whether you are made for research or not. And it's not a commitment like a PhD program. It's not a commitment like a postdoc position. The expectation from you is very low. They want you to experience science, they want you to experience research, they want you to learn how to do a research, how to work in a lab, how to work with lab people, and basically figure out whether you like this thing or not. Of course, I loved it a lot because that's the reason I pursued PhD, and now I'm a postdoc and I am in this field. So it helped me. It helped me realize what kind of research I like, what kind of work I like, what kind of species I wanted to work with. I did not wanted to work with Drosophilus, the fruit fly. So I chose not to do any research that involved them. When I did my summer internship in IISER Bangalore, I worked with mice and I figured I liked working with mice. So when I came into PhD program, I did in cancer, which was not my specialty when I was in IISER. But I chose a different field because I still wanted to learn and figure out what I liked or not. And I worked with mice, and thank God I had that internship experience of working with mice. So when I was full-fledgedly working with mice, that fear was gone, that disgusting feeling was gone. I was more prepared to do my research. Even today, like the research that I'm doing today, it involves a lot of mouse work, and I feel nothing basically. Like I feel something, but it's not like, oh my god, I have to work with mice. Not that kind of feeling. And even my postdoc, I have switched my specialty. I'm doing infectious disease because I know that I can still learn more, and like of course I'm getting more and more specialized. Like I am building more on my techniques, I'm building more on my thought process. I'm definitely becoming more specialized in that aspect. But on the other hand, because I have an interdisciplinary aspect of it, I also know I can switch between fields, and that's something this this particular field provides you. In science, you can always switch. You can always start something new. You can always start a new project. You can always start a new avenue, and you have the right, you have the flexibility. And I don't think I see it a lot in other fields. Maybe there is, but I have not experienced it in other fields. Other than that, I have realized having fellowship is amazing, and that's how I did my PhD. My PhD was fully funded, and I still try to get fellowships and stuff. And why fellowships are important, which will be something I'll focus on episode 4, is that it creates an image about you that you can bring money, irrespective of whether you're working in academics or in industry. They want you to bring in money, either through grants or through patents or something else. So when you get fellowship, it gives them an impression that you are skilled enough to do so. So it's an important skill. It helps your CV, it helps you land into programs or jobs you want, and it also creates a positive impression about you. And you learn a lot because getting fellowships are not that easy. It's very competitive. So it trains you too how to write and stuff like that. Is there anything else that is good? Man. Yeah, I'll say the last thing I realized in IISER Mohali was that people don't realize we scientists are the backbone of a country, and the very reason is we do all our stuff. What should I fill in the year of bachelor in various form? What should it be? Same as your MS2. Your first 3 years will be BS, and your last 2 years will be MS. Ankit, your first 3 years will be BS, and your last 2 years will be MS. Because that's when they expect you to start specializing. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah. So I realized that while I was in IISER, and as I kept on working on myself and making myself be more involved in this career, is that we scientists work in the background for a lot of things. We are working with we are working with doctors and nurses to bring new drugs to help. We do all these trials. Each and every drug that you consume are tested to make sure that they are safe for you before you consume it. If we don't do this kind of test trials, then like if you consume these medicines, you will die. There is a high chance of you dying, but you don't know it, you don't realize it, because when the doctor prescribes you, the only person you see is the doctor prescribing you the medicine, and the only thing you see is the company that made that medicine, the pharmacy company. But you don't see the people who are involved in making the drug, trying out that drug, make ensuring that it is safe for you. Same thing with a lot of these AIs and stuff. Like we are all using Google. Right now I'm using Facebook. You are watching me on Facebook Live all across the world. Right? You are watching me all across the world. Today I'm gonna download this video, I'm gonna put it on YouTube, and more people will see me. This happened because not only computer engineers and other engineers, but there were scientists, there are mathematicians, there are physicists who did research, who did the AI, whatever. I don't know a lot of it, but I know there are mathematicians, there are physicists who wrote this code along with these computer people and helped us connect together like this. That's the reason why Google have scientists in its team as well as engineers in its team, because they know that you have to have us, like the whole research community, involved in developing anything in this world. What's unfortunate is that since we have always been working in the background, we are always treated as to be the background. And that's why nobody knows about the entire research community of India. If I have not joined IISER Mohali, I would have never learned that India has this huge scientific community. We have research institute, we have research universities, we have private university, like private research, like JNCSR. That's a private one. NCBS, CCMB, CD, I think CDFD is government, but all these institutes are there that are not IITs, that are not IISc, that are not IISERs, and they do research, and they are publishing in Nature and in big journals, and they are contributing to our health, to our infrastructure, to our economics and everything. I was personally so happy, but as well as so ashamed to know that the first female scientist to be ever inducted in Royal Society of London, which is the most prestigious research society in the whole world, and it's not easy to be a part of that. The very first female scientist to ever be a part of this society is an Indian scientist, and she has been working from India. Her research lab is in JNCSR Bangalore in India. Do we know about her? No, we don't. And she was involved in a lot of public health ventures and psychology, and child psychology and stuff like that. This is so shameful that we as citizens of our own country don't know what our scientists are doing, but on the other hand, Royal Society of London is inducting our scientists in their society, and not only that, she is the very first female scientist to be inducted. And the reason being that we have been unfortunately always in the background, and on top of that, we don't discuss about what scientists are doing in newspapers or stuff like that. The only community that we know about is ISRO, and I give props to ISRO for always being in the forefront, for putting out what they are doing, for fighting what they are doing. They've got so much criticism throughout their time. Like, so many people have done, oh, if you, why to spend so much money on sending this space mission into the space where you could have used it to, help poverty and this and that and blah blah blah. They didn't care. They still kept on working, and they made sure everybody knew what they were doing. And see how and where they are today. I'm not telling all scientists to take out banners and start screaming, we are doing science, and like respect the stuff, and like, but what I want is everybody, if you are a scientist, if you are a student of any of this institute, if you are doing research, if you are a PhD person, start sharing your science. Start talking to your family. Tell them what you're doing. Start telling your friends. 90% of the people might not be interested in what you are doing, but the fact is they are still listening, and they know that you are doing something. You are educating them in this field, so that tomorrow in newspaper, if somebody is discussing about a scientific study that has had a positive reform. I know my father told me recently, probably like a month or 2 months back, that a group in IISER Kolkata has found an interesting observation regarding a certain cancer protein or a cancer, and that work has been very appreciated. So my father, who has no background in science, who is a chartered accountant, has never touched a science book in his adult life. He, because I am a scientist and I keep on involved in my life, he is now going and reading this news article and telling me, his daughter, who is in this field, who has no idea that there is a group in IISER Kolkata who is doing this fantastic job, educating me about a research work that's happening in my country. And that's exactly what needs to happen. And it's fine if you are confused and you feel like, well, they are not of science background, how they will understand. Make it easy. Make it easy for them to understand. It's not related to IISER, and I don't know whether that's a thing with India, but like here in USA, there are certain grants. So grants are basically money or funding that you get to do research. There are certain grants where you write a section on why the study you're doing is important to people, and you write it to like keeping in mind like that's a lay person, like somebody who has no idea what researchers are, what research is, what scientists do and stuff like that. So you write this letter to this random XYZ person and explain your science in as simplified way possible. And this person reads that article, like that you wrote it, and they score it. So if you get high score from that person, even though say you didn't get that great score in the like other aspect, you have a high chance of getting that funding because you made the person believe in you and your science. And it's important because what we are working on are on taxpayers' money. Irrespective of which country you are from, we are all doing research on taxpayers' money. So they need to have this trust on us that what we are doing is because we want to help them. And irrespective of which field you are, the end goal is to help the society that you are living in. So that's something I definitely realized in IISER, and that's why I very strongly believe in science advocacy, and I try my best to let people know as much as possible. And I will be very happy if you think that there is some sense in what I'm saying, and and propagate science basically to other people. So with that, yeah, that's pretty much how my life was in IISER Mohali from 2008 to 2013. I have learned about this field. I have learned how to do science. I have learned how to appreciate science. I've also learned that how difficult can science be and how frustrating it can be, and how many times you fail before you get one successful data, and how you have to like prepare yourself mentally to deal with this failure in your life. The interesting thing is that because you learn to deal with failure in this field, you also learn to appreciate little things in life, and your way to dealing with stress also changes. Like you kind of mature at the end of the 5 years. I know I matured at the end of 5 years of my IISER life, and we had so much fun. We had all the crazy. I got in trouble. We got in trouble. We did some stuff that we don't need to talk about, and we had fest and we had fun and we had celebration. I always looked for Holi and Lodi celebration. Oh my god, they were like the best time. I remember when we were in the new campus, we had a DJ battle between us and the it was the Business Institute. I think IIB, I forgot. It was a big business institute, and they were like literally next door, and it was a very posh institute, and they had like very posh campus, and they used to have DJ night every weekend. Of course, we were a university, so we can't have DJ night every weekend, but we had twice a year, which was one was Holy night, one was Lodi night, and we made sure that we were the loudest in that entire neighborhood. So all the small things, it was amazing. And I never felt like, oh, because I was in IISER and I'm studying something which takes so much concentration and time, like I was losing out of life. We never lost out of life. We had fun, we studied, we gave our exams, we did our internships, but on the other hand, we had fun, we celebrated, we made friends, we had fights, we did strikes, we did everything. And that's what I believe is the perfect college life. Yep. I move too much hands, so enjoy my Kathakali dance. So that's pretty much it. I am very excited to actually do an interview with someone, and we are on works, so hopefully it should be in 2 weeks time. It will be either a Facebook live or it will be a video upload. I don't know, I'll have to figure it out, but I'm really excited to talk with this person and bring this person's perspective in this field, because she's also a researcher, and she's an amazing artist, she's an amazing singer. So she does science and she's also into music, and I want to let everybody know that you can still keep your hobbies and you can do other things apart and along with science. So I will notify you guys, and I'll start recording my episode 3. I will try to give as much information about as many programs we have. If I skip something, please let me know. I will go back and look into it, and I will make a notes section on that, so that anybody who is in those appropriate years, most of the programs you can start applying after your second year, and it's irrespective whether you are doing your BSMS from IISER or you are in other graduation program. So I will list down all of them, both national and international ones, in that notes section, so you can click on it and see, and do that. You will appreciate it. If not, you will at least know whether you like it or not. So with that, thank you for joining me. I will see you guys soon. Thank you for all the love you guys have shown to me. Please rate and review my page, and if you guys are on iPhone, then in iTunes, and if you are watching this or listening to my podcast in YouTube, please go to my channel, subscribe to it, and comment down anything that you want to hear about. And also, please, if you have any question or you want me to talk about anything regarding work, fellowships, grants, culture, mental health, anything, please feel free to message me on the page, and I'll make sure I either reply to you personally if it's a personal case, and if you want me to talk about it in a general way, I'll do a live and answer those. Thank you so much. See you guys soon, and episode 3 is coming. Bye. Okay.